Yes, y'all. DJ Klyph. Welcome back to the Klyph Notes podcast. Got a really good interview for y'all. My interview with Chaz Van Queen, artist, MC, producer. Man, we linked. Shout out to Dead Stock Run Club. That's where we linked, man. Out in our fitness situation, getting our runs in, and just started building, man. Chaz just released an EP, No Man is an Island. So of course we're gonna be talking about that in this interview. But we get into a bunch of stuff, man. Just a bunch of life stuff. It's a really, really good conversation. Excited to share this with y'all, man. Chaz also has a show coming up at Portland State University this week. We're gonna be talking about that as well. Dope conversation. Before we get into that though, let me just real quick. Speaking of shows, there's a couple of shows I want to get y'all up on. On the 18th, this Friday, Cyrock's gonna be back in Portland, live at the Star Theater. You know how much, well, I don't know, maybe you don't know, but if you listen to anything with connected to DJ Klyph Productions, Welcome to the Neighborhood, The Rhythm on the Numbers, you hear how often she's in my set list, man, in my playlists. And so it's so dope that she's gonna be in Portland. Had a chance to chop with her on the radio show a little bit ago. Tickets are available right now. It's going down at the Star Theater this Friday, February the 18th. Cyrock's gonna be in the building with Soul Messiah. My guy DJ OG1 is gonna be in the building as well. So it's gonna be nothing but a good time, man. So get them tickets, man. Cyrock live in Portland, the Star Theater. Also, we're about to kick off the PDX Jazz Festival. It kicks off on the 17th of this month, goes through the 26th. A bunch of great performances happening throughout the city with some amazing artists. But on the 26th, Robert Glasper. Yes, Robert Glasper. Black Radio 3. He's going to be performing at the Portland Art Museum. That's going to be an amazing show to wrap up the festival, man. And I'm going to be in the building. I'm going to be there just playing selector, playing some cuts, you know. And if you listen to any of my sets, you really know what to expect, man. It's pretty straightforward. But yeah, man, tickets are available right now. Robert Glasper, Portland Art Museum. An amazing, amazing show you don't want to miss, man. It's gonna be amazing. Did I say amazing enough times? Yo, and then also, man, working on some things to connect with my listeners, my Klyph Notes podcast listeners, live and in person. So we working on that right now, trying to see what we can do. So definitely stay tuned to that. All right, y'all, that's enough of that. Let's get into this great interview, this amazing interview with my guy Chaz Van Queen. No Man is an Island. It's the Klyph Notes podcast. Support for the Klyph Notes podcast comes from Akepele Apparel, an idea born from a love of hip-hop, funk, and soul music and its surrounding cultures. With fashion being a huge visual part of the cultures, they've created expressive images to pay homage, invoke nostalgia, and showcase the elements that make up the lifestyle and cultures of these genres. Akepele, apparel for the music lifestyle. For more information, check out akepele.com. That's AKEPELE.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, the show you're about to listen to may contain explicit content. So guess what? You need to put them babies to sleep. This is for grown folks only. So we're not held liable for anything you might be offended by. Thank you for listening.
Yes, y'all. So we back, man. It's another episode of the Klyph Notes podcast. Once again, shout out to the Numberz for hosting this episode. This recording is so dope to have them on board as a sponsor for the Klyph Notes podcast. Hey, yo, this one's dope, man. Something that we've been working on for a minute. To chop it up with this young man who I linked with a while ago. Before we get into it, man, let them know who you are.
Peace to the gods, peace to the world. My name is Chaz Van Queen from the X. What up, everybody?
How you doing, bruh?
I'm doing better than last year, man. I'm feeling good.
That's what's up.
Blessed.
That's what's up, man. So, a couple things, man, just to get into it, man. So we first connected. We were literally just talking about this. We first connected at an event that I have slipped on, bro. Shout out to the Dead Stock Run Club.
Shout out to Dead Stock, man. A pillar in the community, G.
Come on, say that, bro. Just really about, really on some wellness, on some fitness. And then shout out to Amir, man, who I had
That's
an
my
opportunity
brother,
to build with. Y'all heard the Amir episode of the Klyph Notes podcast, but went to the Dead Stop Run Club trying to get my fitness on, and he was like, "Yo, I got to introduce you to somebody in the city," and we linked, bruh.
Yeah, and we did it the right way too. It was organic. It wasn't forced. It wasn't opportunistic. It was about really taking our time and getting acquainted with each other's work. So I really appreciate it coming together that way.
Word
Because
up.
that's how I think genuine relationships are built. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
But yeah, big shout out to Amir, bro, because he's been a lifeline for me out here in Portland. I think that brother really, I want to make sure I'm sending my flowers and in respect to that brother, because that brother is integral to the community, and he has a lot to offer and a lot to give, and he don't hold back. You know what I'm saying? If you're about yours, he mirrors it 100.
Word up. Out there and was running and
Oh, you did run that day?
Oh, I ran that day.
Oh, okay.
I did run
I didn't
that
even
day.
know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't see
ran
you
that
during
day.
the run. That's why I was like, oh, maybe he just pulled up to the coffee shop.
Nah, bro. I was with the slow bunch.
Oh, right, because it's three.
It's three different,
packs.
yeah. And like for real, man. Once again, I want to take a minute to shout out Dead Stock because, especially in these times that we're living in, and y'all know if fitness is a habit, my desire, my goal to build those habits into our lives. And for me, running is one of those habits that I've fallen off of. But the cool thing about it is you can always get back on. And they have created this opportunity for people to come out and meet every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Things kick off at Dead Stock Coffee in Chinatown in Portland, just outside of Chinatown in Portland.
Yeah, right on Cooch Street.
Yeah. And regardless of your fitness level, man, it's really about building encouragement into everyone. So shout out to Dead Stock Run Club.
Absolutely.
If you're interested in running, or if you are a runner and just looking for a community to build with, come through.
Yeah, and they got a new coffee shop too. They got a spot over on, I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's on Davis, but it's across the bridge.
Okay.
Yeah, it's across the bridge.
Word. I think I saw them post about it, but I haven't gone to check it out yet.
I've been there one time.
Word.
Due to Amir, he was like, yo, Fridays, we got a little pull-up. People come through, work, kind of light networking vibe.
Yeah.
So he had me come through on a Friday, and I was posted up there, took a meeting, and I was there for like 3 hours working.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the chai is hitting.
That's my vibe right there.
Yeah, the chai is hitting.
So Chaz, bro, like you hit me. I said, yo, link me with some. Okay, so I gotta also keep it real with you.
Always.
I was on. Shout out to Wifey. Always shout out to Wifey, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to like the whole smartphone situation, we always been on Android.
Okay.
And I was like, as I'm building with artists and musicians, sometimes it's like not having an iPhone can be challenging. So that day I was like, yo, hit me with some of your music so I could check it out. And I got the radio stations, woo woo woo.
Yeah.
And you was like, hey, no doubt, man. Here, I'll airdrop it to you right now. And I was like, I'm on the Android. I want to let you know, bruh, that incident right there, I was like, I got to go get an iPhone.
That's the moment. That was the moment. I never want to be discriminatory with it. You know what I'm saying? Because all in all, the phones need us. We don't need the phones.
100%.
So I feel it's necessary to, work with people however.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm an email person personally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really a big fan of when people try to consistently keep the means of communication on social media.
Yes.
Because it forces me to have to dive back into this infinite small but room of just relativity and constant stimuli. And it's bro, I was just looking for the address. But now I'm on a page I'm not supposed to be on.
Right.
I'm way
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm an email person. But I do understand. My mother, my little brother, they don't have one of my little brothers has an iPhone.
Yeah.
And we communicate more. But then my next brother, who's immediately younger than me, he has an Android.
Yeah.
And we just call.
Yeah.
We don't really text like that. Because when you send in videos, it's a problem.
Yep.
The conversion, it's he sent me a video and I'm like, bro, where did you film this?
Exactly.
What's going on here?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Right. And dude said, are you okay? Well, I mean, whatever you rock with, my wife still rocks with Android, but it's just about, in this situation, in the avenues that I'm on right now, it just makes it so much easier.
My mom actually got it figured out.
Oh, word.
Because half of her children have Android situation.
Yeah.
And then her eldest son, myself,
Yeah.
has the iPhone.
Yeah.
So she has it figured out. She has an Android phone,
Uh-huh.
but she has an iPad.
Oh, that's what's up. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up. And that's what wifey does. So she has her
Yeah.
Android, and then when she's communicating with her family who all have iPhones, jump on the iPad and
Yeah.
you got
So
it.
she'll be like, okay, WhatsApp ain't working, so FaceTime me. And I'm like, FaceTime you on what, bro?
Right.
And she's like, I have the iPad. Like, I'm like, all right.
Word
cool.
up. Word up.
Thankfully, we're able to use that. So, but I'm glad you over. I'm glad you on the dark side.
Yeah, it's funny because then I hit people who I've been connected with for years, and they're like, "Oh, I saw the blue.
It's blue."
I'm like, "Yeah, man, I had
Once
to
it's
do
blue.
it."
But we made it. How did we make it work though?
So you hit me. I think you either hit me on. I think you sent me links. You either sent me links or you hit me on WeTransfer or something like that.
Okay.
At any rate, I got joints. Had a chance to listen through, and just been building. But I wanna dive into some of your history, man. You rocking the Bronx. Was it the Bronx Taught Me?
The Bronx Taught Me. Shouts to my man Dondre Green from Bronx Narratives. That's my long-time cohort, long-time supporter of what I've been doing, as well as I'm a supporter of Bronx Narratives and Dakota and the whole team. Yeah, so I'm from the X.
Yeah.
I was born in Baltimore, and part of my soul energy comes from there as well. But I was raised in the X. I came of age in the X.
Word.
And which was a myriad of experiences growing up, running around New York. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I had some hardships with my parents and stuff. Everybody got things that they come through,
Mm-hmm.
but it resulted in me being out in the street rather young.
Yeah.
So I gained a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience, and I got into music, fairly early. But I was into music in a way in which it came through like the streets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which means on one hand I would be like playing guitar and like singing, songwriting at home, and nobody knew about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I would go out to help support the fam and battle rap in different neighborhoods for like $40, $50 here and there.
Oh, word.
So I would come home and just give my moms half the money or whatever.
Yeah.
And just keep the little rest for myself, and just hope that I don't get caught hopping the train.
Yeah, no doubt. It's so I was born in the Northeast, sort of came of age in the deep South, and then relocated here. So I've always had sort of an ear for the East Coast vibe, and then such a huge respect for the from the origins of this art form that we love.
Yeah.
And I think that comes across in playlists that I curate and in my radio
Which
show.
are fire. I've been listening to some stuff, man. I've been getting acquainted with a lot of different acts here.
Word.
Through that.
That's what's
You know
up.
what I'm saying? So
That's what's
please
up.
share that with people. I don't know how you share it, but let people know, because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a lifeline for me.
That's what's up. No, I appreciate it, man. I mean, and that's a big part of. That's really where the Klyph Notes podcast came from, in having conversations with cats after we do the radio show, and was like, yo, these conversations, I'm talking about after we go off the air,
Yeah.
these conversations should be shared, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, the foundation was trying to build something that I didn't have back in the day when I was trying to get on, when I was an artist, and it was just tough. And so when these platforms became available, I wanted to provide that for folk. But at any rate, man, I'm curious as to having the opportunity to come up as an artist in that area, the history there, and just the birthplace. I mean, let's just keep it 100, right? And then to be able to transition out here and get to know the music scene out here. I know you've been out here for
Like a year.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're still kind of getting a sense of the scene here, but
Yeah. But also, let's think about what year it was, too.
true.
You know what I'm saying?
True, exactly. Wasn't a whole lot going on yet.
Right. It's still, I'm still feeling like it's just starting to propel. Like, I really think this summer, I'm preparing for this summer, because I think that's when I'm really going to have a chance to be, hopefully,
Yes.
God willing, we'll have an opportunity to really see what the city is like, and you know what I mean? Because I really feel like I said, I don't really have any friends here yet, man. I'm not going to act like I'm mixy.
Yeah.
I've been some places and seen some people, but I haven't really felt like, okay, I'm tapped in.
Yeah. No doubt.
Not at all.
No doubt. We gonna work on that, man, as people hear this, and then just through my networks, I definitely want to let you know of things to plug into.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, as people are hearing this and they're like, okay, so like who is Chaz? Like where do people tap in to really get a sense of what you have to offer artistically?
Oh, that's a easy question to answer. Well, my name is Chaz Van Queen, and that's, I was born with that name. A lot of people always ask me, like, did you make that up?
Yeah,
Like, is it? I didn't. My parents made it up. But so shouts to my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
But yeah, my name is Chaz Van Queen, and that's easily searchable. And as soon as you hit that, you'll get an understanding of my artistic identity and my mission. Music education is a huge part of my mission, and it has been since kind of early on. And to speak to my experience in the Bronx, I thankfully was swooped up by some OGs kind of young, and they taught me knowledge of self. You know what I mean? I learned the ways of the 5%ers really young, and I learned the ways of Rastafari really young, and I was able to kind of get a grip on knowledge of self at a very tender time in my life, and it was channeled through music also.
Yeah.
Music was a part of that. So in my upbringing, it was always music is spiritual, music is cultural. Music was never fed. It wasn't fed to me. I mean, on TV and all that, it was MTV Cribs and all that.
Yeah.
It was fed to me with a consumerism type lens.
Yes.
And a capitalistic type lens.
Yeah. But
intimately, people and person to person, it was always served with a spiritual and cultural lens.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I think my music reflects that. And as far as the music education aspect goes, the reason that I'm engaged in music education is because I was able to be an informal student very young. 16, 17, I was traveling from the Bronx. I know you may not know New York that well, but I was traveling all the way from like Castle Hill projects in the Bronx all the way to Jamaica, Queens, just to use an MPC 2000 on Thursdays for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And that was because my OG, Majestic God, shout out to my OG, Majestic God, who really was the person who introduced me to hip-hop production and just production, not just hip-hop, but just, introduced me to the world of music as culture and music as spirituality. So that's a huge part of the reason why I'm an educator in music, because it was, a part of my lineage and my come-up. And I realized, I barely had this. And many of my friends didn't have this. So I wanted to be a person who was there for a 16-year-old or, a 7th grader or a young adult who maybe, you know what I'm saying? That's a tender time.
Yeah.
Because you're getting some freedom and you're able to possibly move around a little bit. And what you do with that time and energy is very valuable. So that's, that's a part of my mission. And musically, I've always told people like I'm Stevie Wonder meets Slick Rick. That's like my sound. That's my energy.
Yeah.
I've always appreciated how Slick Rick had a way with character and charisma, but also a way with lyricism and songwriting.
Yeah.
I consider myself to be a songwriter and a composer, and my instruments are rapping, piano. I studied piano, classical composition in college.
Oh, word.
And, my instruments are rapping and piano and singing. I take singing very seriously, took a lot of singing lessons in my adult life. And did some like off-Broadway stuff and different things like that. And, I'm just a collage of indigenous and African diaspora culture.
Yeah.
That's really what my music is. I don't really think of music in terms of like nouns. I don't think of anything in terms of nouns. I think of things in terms of verbs.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not a runner. I'm running.
Word.
I'm not a rapper. I'm rapping.
Word.
You
I
know
love
what I'm
that.
saying?
I
And
love that.
That's my ideology on music and life.
That's what's up, bro. I really love the way that you break it down. Sometimes I feel like I come across as an old head because, well, in part because I am, but when I was introduced to hip hop, it wasn't about commercialism. It was purely for the art, and I love to hear and be around people who have that sensibility of continuing to take care of this art form, and not just rap,
No.
like hip hop as a
culture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love hearing that.
Yeah, I mean, you know where I'm from. I have a responsibility.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? Like I know that things have, hip hop is, 50 years old.
Yeah. We middle-aged now, V.
Nah, we're very young.
True.
We're very young.
True. When you look at it, yes. When you look at it as a
Yeah.
genre amongst
Yeah.
other genres.
If we look at it, cultures.
Yeah.
If we look at it to the age of when people became aware of other cultures and
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yes.
Hip hop culture is very, very, very young.
No doubt.
As a matter of fact, it's kind of still in its infancy.
True. That's very true. I mean, to be
know?
fair, that is very, very true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like most music, just a random fact. Most music in the history of our planet has not been recorded, right?
True.
There's
Yep.
no algorithm on it. There's no, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of this was it had to be communicated person to person.
Yeah.
You know, it was ritualistic.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the inception of hip hop music and culture was ritualistic.
Yeah.
And I still believe in those rituals.
Yes.
And I'll fight to the death to keep those rituals.
Word up.
Because it's absolutely necessary for our young people.
Yeah.
I'm right at the pulse as a teacher every day. I get to ask young people, like, what's the main reason you would want to make music? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I get a wide spectrum of answers. I get, like, because I'm trying to get this money.
Yeah.
But I also get, because I love it.
Yeah.
I also get because my grandmother sang in church.
Yeah.
I also get because it's the only place I feel like I could be myself. So we have a responsibility. It doesn't matter what age you have that realization and you want to start. It don't matter. It's never too early and it's never too late. We have that responsibility to keep culture and spirituality as the pulse of our artistic and musical identity.
That's what's up, bro.
It's non-compromisable.
I love that, man. I love that, and I love that you see your position in that process. And being an educator is something that I think it's a gift. You know, I think especially as we navigate all of the noise, for lack of a better term, that we are all exposed to right now. Now, you were speaking on social media a little bit earlier. Sometimes I feel like I get on my soapbox, and I have found that, like, even for me, social media can be an obstacle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I have enough life experience to recognize that. And I think that, wow, we have a generation that's coming up who doesn't know life without social media. Like, that is how we communicate.
Yeah.
And so for you to be in a position and recognize that you can influence young people, I think that needs to be celebrated, you know?
Yeah. I think we have to approach interacting with young people and combating the distraction of the ether and the multiverse and well, so let's not say all that. Let's just say social media in particular.
Yeah.
We have to combat that with that same guerrilla marketing tactic that social media uses, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Social media is very much like it's literally the online version of me taking, you know, as much as I can, balling it up and throwing it at you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that we can't be passive about, especially, like I said, once you have that moment of reflection, that light where you're like, yo, I see where I stand in all of this. It's important for me to, you know, communicate outward and unify people. We can't approach that passively because there's companies that are built with the intent of not approaching it passively.
Right.
And you're competing with that every day. But the
Right.
difference is there's no street teams anymore, right? So there's not a bunch of people who are just walking up on people.
Yeah.
They only have the phone.
Yeah.
We have the connection of human connection.
Yeah.
So, you know, still trust and believe in that because there's still nothing going to ever be more valuable than that.
Say that. As we continue to talk about art, and you sort of share, not sort of, but you share your background when it comes to art, then we get to talk about the art that we have right now. You have an EP that you released, No Man is an Island.
Yeah.
And the title, I think, is can be powerful. Let's start with that. The title, No Man is an Island. What was the influence for that?
I made a lot of mistakes in my life. I made a lot of mistakes in my career. And I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying mistakes as a bad thing because good and bad is binary. That's not healthy. I'm saying mistakes as a means of learning. And I made a lot of mistakes. You know, I think that my career could be different if I made some different decisions and you know, I thought about things differently. But the point of it is, one of the things that I always come back to is right around the financial crash, I'd say, right around 2008. We had this wave of professional level products starting to be remanufactured and packaged at consumer prices. That was a big change. So now everybody could get it, you know, I mean, it was a little bit before that, but it was around that time, 05, 06, 07, 08. But like 08 was a big change, I noticed. We started to get to a point where things were a lot cheaper. You know what I mean? And we were starting to, you know, digitize a lot of our means of learning. And in doing that, what happens is one has access to so much resources and thus feels like I can just do this myself. I could film this myself. I could tape this myself. I could record this myself. I could write this myself, etc. But the inherent problem that comes with that ideology is what? Isolation.
Right.
So that is one of the things that I am working on in my career to do differently. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And to unify and to bring someone else in and to be like, yo, I have this idea, and you know, not only as an idea, I've kind of laid it out, I've deduced it to a plan, and I've deduced it maybe even to a course of action and tasks. Can you help me with this?
Yeah.
That in itself is it goes back to what I was saying about it being an extension of culture.
Yeah.
So the reason that I named the project No Man is an Island is a reminder to myself to not do things alone just because I possess the talent and the ability to do things alone.
Yeah.
And No Man is an Island is the first project in, I don't know if it's maybe like my 6th project or something, but it's the first project that I've released where I did not produce the music.
Okay.
So my brother Sum Total, also of the Bronx, shout out to Sum Total, producer from the Bronx. He did the 4 beats.
Okay.
You know, I produced the songs, you know, but it was the first time I'm like, yo, I want to get some beats from you. I want to do an EP with you.
Yeah.
Which also speaks, it's a step in that direction for me.
Yeah.
And I took something that I know I could do exceptionally well, which is music production, and I intentionally handed it off as a lesson to myself, you know what I'm saying? And my brother Samuel Obey, who's the founder of label Astronautical, and he did all the engineering on the album and mixed the record, which is something I've done myself in the past.
Yeah.
My man Andrew Y over at what's that Sony studio that's like super big? I forget the name of it right now. This is like a super huge studio.
Yeah.
But he did the mastering on the album. Shout out Andrew Y. I intentionally was reaching out to other people.
Yeah.
My boy Seth Dubois, we got together and we climbed Mount St. Helens together. Is
that where that photo of the album? Okay.
That's me climbing Mount St. Helens.
That's crazy, yeah.
It was a very difficult climb that day. It was
Yeah.
like a hailstorm for like 2 hours at the top. It
Yeah.
was terrible. But it was a beautiful spiritual experience, and we did a mini doc that I'm minting as a part of an NFT collection right now.
Yeah.
But the mini doc is already done, and we did that of me climbing the mountain. And that's where the cover comes from, and he did the cover with me. You know what I'm saying? Just consistently reaching out. You know, my brother Narsi, who's an amazing Iraqi hip-hop artist and educator as well. He connected me, thankfully, with the Ebro show, and that's how I got remote learning premiered on the Ebro show.
Word.
So just another testament to, you know, that notion, no man is an island.
That's what's up,
and
bro.
stepping into that.
That's what's up. So now that the project is out, and you've mentioned some of the things that have come from going through that process, when you have a chance to look back on, okay, like how does this feel now to build a community of artists to work on this art project? Like how has that impacted your your process? How has that impacted your thought on moving forward, releasing art? Is this sort of a process that you can say, okay, now that art is out there, I want people to celebrate that and live with it. I'm going to do more of that. I'm going to do more of working solo. I'm going to just see, how I moved to create art.
The answer to that question is simple. The project doesn't start dying when I release it.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It starts living and growing.
100%.
So there's a lot of things. There's a lot of expression. That project is very dense, which is why it's only 4 songs.
Yeah.
Like Remote Learning in itself is a very dense song.
Yeah.
And it's a remarkable song that I think is really well done, and it communicates a perspective that to this point, I don't hear every song, but to this point has not really been intimately communicated during this pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have not really heard a song that communicates the pandemic from the perspective of a young person in school.
Yeah.
Why have we not done that?
Yeah.
Because they are one of the most deeply affected populations.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Super simple to me.
Yeah.
And to speak to the concept of the record again, I don't want to forego mentioning this. Each song is written from a perspective that is not my own. Not one of the songs is autobiographical, intentionally.
Yeah.
Method acting went into making these songs.
Yeah.
I became one of my students for Remote Learning.
Yeah.
I became I tried to embody the spirit and the family of Philando Castile and many other people who were wrongfully murdered and brutalized by, paramilitary officer police throughout our country for no-knock gypsy cop.
Yeah.
I'm trying to popularize the term no-knock because no-knock warrants need to go away.
Yeah.
I'm trying to popularize the term gypsy cop because there's no national database. There's a Yale Law Review article that talks about this, which is an inspiration of me writing the song. There is no national database of officers who have been fired and or reprimanded for misconduct in the police departments nationwide. There is no national database, which means if I am a police officer and I lose my job due to some sort of misconduct, I can just go to another town. I can go to another county. I can go to another state and potentially be a police officer again.
Yeah. And we've seen reports of that.
Many, many times.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But only the ones that we've seen are the examples. There's many more that we have not seen.
True.
Because we all got to eat. We got stuff to do. We don't have the time to be looking all of this up. But peace to the people who, I forget the names of the individuals who wrote the Yale Law Journal article that I read. It was an eye-opener for me. And another eye-opener was how much a lot of these cops try to get their jobs back in other places. Yeah. Like, they have no sense of, like, moral compass to be like, yo, like, all right, I'm going to do something else.
Right, maybe this is not for me.
Nah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not letting go.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, to get back to the point of what we were saying, the project is very dense, and my goal is to bring visual life to this project.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have the Mount St. Helens climb, the mini doc, which is symbolic of the project itself. And then the harder thing, which takes unity and a lot of times takes bread, is doing the visual, doing mini docs for like each of these songs.
Yeah.
Because each of them are a very specific scenario that I like to touch on to give people a more all-encompassing understanding of the songs.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that because when I listen to Remote Learning, one of the things that I like about the song is I think you do a great job of creating the visual of what's being expressed vocally, right? And I think a lot of that has to do, I think a lot of that goes into the production. I think that the storytelling comes through so well. I laugh.
You can hear the Slick Rick influence.
Absolutely, bro.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I laugh every single time. If you're listening to what's happening behind the scenes, I laugh every single time the teacher is taking attendance.
Yeah. You can hear it deep in the back, right? Yeah.
Chaz here.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's so dope. So I'm excited to see how does what you create match with what I see listening to the songs.
That part of the song was not. That's another thing I like about that album.
Yeah.
Fun fact about that record:
Yeah.
all the songs were recorded in one day.
Oh, word.
Yeah, I kind of just had I had it in my mind, and it was super clear. And I think numerous artists can speak to this experience. We have these experiences where we have these moments of clarity.
Yeah.
And it just is so clear and vivid that when it's time to actually record it, it's like it's all there.
Yeah.
And that was what those songs were. I had bullet points of what I was going to talk about, and I had like a few bars and stuff kind of like written down, but a lot of those songs, like the third verse of that song, when I went in the studio, I didn't even have that verse.
Oh, word.
Yeah, the third verse, the balling and making profit, my major topic. I didn't have that when I went in the studio.
Oh, word.
I've literally freestyled that last verse because when I was listening to the whole song, the first two verses, I was like, I know what this needs.
Yeah.
And it needs that rapping and that rapping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's just, an example. And that middle part of the song, to reference back to what you were just saying, is something I knew I wanted to do, but I didn't know exactly how I was going to relay it until I was in the studio. And peace to Sam, who was there recording with me and just is a genius in his own right. And he offered, I was like, man, I want to get somebody in to, be the teacher. I think it would be dope. Maybe I'm looking through my phone. I'm about to call somebody.
Right,
I'm like, maybe I can get somebody here. I could just get him a car here because I'm in New York. I did all these songs. I recorded all these songs in New York.
Okay.
I flew back to New York and I recorded them all in one day while I was there. And he was like, bro, I know you for years, bro. You do so many things with your voice. Like, just do it yourself.
Yeah.
He was like, and then if we don't like it, we'll just use it as a reference.
Yeah.
I was like, cool. We did it, and we all was like, yeah,
that's it.
Because it was like, it almost like, it's better because it sounds like me.
Yeah.
It's better because it's my voice in 3 or 4 different ways.
Yeah.
Very reminiscent to like Slick Rick does it.
He does it all the time.
Slick Rick does it.
Yeah.
Eminem gets it from him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I could go on and on about how essential Slick Rick is to hip hop culture. He's one of the most sampled hip hop artists in other people's songs.
Yeah.
Lines used over and over.
Yeah.
Like, he's top.
Yeah.
He's really at the top, bro.
Yeah. Well, and as we continue to reference Slick Rick, one of the things that I think about is, what was it like before rap music as we know it, right? Before we could go and listen to it on the radio. What was all of that? Where does this come from? And I can remember being a child and understanding that what I heard on the radio, like the first time that I heard Rapper's Delight, one of the reasons that I think you take to that is because what you've heard forever, it was just very familiar. The idea of the idea of rhythm, the idea of rhyme, I mean that's a part of our culture, right? And then you consider you fast forward to the first time we hear Slick Rick, again, that's just familiar. It's a part of our history, storytelling, right? That's how we know our history, is through storytelling. And that's one of the reasons that I so appreciate what Rick did. Was all he did was he said, "This is what we do. I'm gonna present it to you in a different form."
Yeah, the culture's not lost with him.
Right.
That's important.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I listen to Houdini, the culture's not lost with Houdini.
100%. Absolutely.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could talk to you all day about new artists and new acts and stuff like that. This is not about one or the other. We gotta move away from that binary thinking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we have to celebrate innovators and originators.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The music that I'm making, I'm speaking to when capitalism completely collapses and it's just a part of a book.
Yeah.
My music will still be important.
Yeah.
And it'll still be absolutely essential.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'm not making songs endorsing liquor brands and stuff like that.
Right.
All right, cool.
Right.
But one, I'm not gonna be here very long.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My body's gonna fail me very quickly in the course of all time.
Right.
But this music is gonna matter forever and ever. And every song I make is speaking to forever.
I love that. I love that.
I'm not staying I apologize to cut you off.
No.
Staying present is super important, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Remote Learning is a very present song.
Yeah.
But it's the way that it's done. And even the subject matter, it's current, but it speaks to forever, which proves to me nothing that I'm doing is out the loop or wrong.
Yeah.
It's just I'm not abiding by the constructs that are placed upon our society.
Yeah.
I'm moving through them.
Yeah.
You don't fuck with it? I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
You can curse on that. It's fine.
You don't fuck with it?
Yeah.
You don't fuck with it. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
It's not for you. But maybe you need to think about why things are and aren't for you. It's not me. If you don't fuck with what I'm doing, it's probably you.
So how do you, as a creative, I think you've already spoken to it, but I just want to kind of circle back. How do you, as a creative, as a part of hip hop culture, as a rapper, maintain that idea, that concept, that vision? Because so much of what we do now, when it comes to rap music, is how do I stay within the trends? And for the most part, what we see trend-wise is I just want to be on. I want to be on the turn up. I want to be what just kind of keeps the vibrations that we all live in super, super high, right? And oftentimes with that, it's not about the content. It's not about the heart. It's all about the head. And so I have that flipped. It's all about the head, not about the. It's all about the heart, not about the head. I just want to get my heart rate up, right? I don't want to get into thinking about the concepts. So a lot of words to say. How do you not get pulled in that direction? And then secondarily, is that important?
Bill Withers once said, he said, I love music, but I'm not going to put my whole worth on it. So let that sit for a sec, just as the beginning of what I'm going to say, right? A lot of us, I have a tattoo right here on my arm I got when I was 18. I went to the Navy at 17. It was my first tattoo when I came back to New York, and it says, I am music, right? All my life, I've been figuring out what the fuck that even means. I've had that on my arm. I love the tattoo.
Yeah.
I love looking at it. It's a reminder of who I am.
Yeah.
But all my life, I've been figuring out what that tattoo actually means.
Yeah.
To answer your question, one, this is not placing your whole worth on being, one thing is very important. It's very important for your sanity. It's very important for your well-being, right? Bill Withers decided when the wave of that music industry was moving in didn't work for him, he decided to step away. That takes strength.
Yeah.
That takes courage. And that takes especially in the timing that he did it.
Yeah.
It takes a knowledge of self and an understanding of yourself.
Yeah.
The man decided that I don't have to put my whole worth on music, right?
Yeah.
I don't have to put my whole worth on capitalistic gain from music.
Yeah.
I do choose to be valued for the quality. And I also I do my best. It's not easy, but I do my best not to live in relativity. It's very important for me to listen to other music and be inspired, but not feel like, oh, I need to make something just like that because you moved to that.
Right.
I possess the skill and ability to take maybe your reaction or interpret your spiritual connection to it and be inspired by that. But not just deduce the music to a series of musical decisions and tactics and then regurgitate those tactics in another song. I don't have to do that because I have skills. So that's. And another part of it that's really basic of why, I navigate this way is because I have talent. I can make money in a bunch of different ways.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm not relying on music to bring me everything that I don't have.
Right.
I'm giving to it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I can get money in different ways. I can lead a sustainable, healthy life.
Yes.
And music can be a part of that palette. But it's not like oh, I won't get no girls if it's not from music, or like I won't have any friends if it's not from music, or I won't get any, like I won't ever be rich if it's not from music.
Right.
Like that's not true.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And the way to truly be wealthy is to have a life of diversity, right?
Mm-hmm.
The original edition of Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, anybody who talks about that book, read the original edition.
Okay.
Because there are some inherent discriminatory things in that book. Specifically, the little note about the young black girl who goes to like ask the landlord or something for 50 cents.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's kept out of the book now.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was like inherently discriminatory.
Yeah.
It made the young girl sound like an idiot intentionally to tell the story.
Yeah.
So read the original edition if you ever want to know that. But the point I'm making of that is throughout that book, one of the lessons is that wealth is a lifestyle. It's diversity.
Yeah.
You know, music has been my passport.
Yeah.
I've been to every country. I mean, I've been to every continent on the planet.
It's dope.
Like even in Antarctica.
That's dope.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And well, that was through my Navy stuff, but
yeah.
That's the answer, man.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the way that you say that, because I think that's one of the things that can get lost in the process is what are you giving to the culture, right? If you don't feed anything, it dies. If all you do is take away from, it dies. And if we want this thing to, I shouldn't even say if we want, because it will be sustainable. But I think always consistently asking ourselves, in anything that we have a relationship with, right? Whether it's family, friends, loved ones, the planet, our jobs, the art that we are a part of, what am I doing to contribute to that? Because if all I'm doing is taking away from it, it dies.
Absolutely. And also don't, I do want to say this. I do possess desire,
Yeah.
I want to be loved and appreciated for the art that I've made.
Absolutely.
And I want, affection from people for the art that I've made, but it's not healthy for me to rely upon it. So I'm doing my best. I'm working on that.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress every day.
Yeah.
To make sure that I'm foundating my worth and my value partially on things that I can control.
Yeah.
And engaging in meditation and prayer and family and community for what things I can't.
Yes.
As opposed to kind of reaching out and equating my love and affection and how I'm accepted and appreciated to, numbers and data.
Yeah.
If I am not designing the data, how can I gauge the value of my life on that data? I didn't design it.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it could be designed, like data is inherently flawed because it's made by humans who are inherently flawed.
Yeah.
So there's no way that we could like sit here and be like, yo, because these numbers say this, I am this.
Right. Right.
That's dangerous.
Yes, it is.
It's very dangerous.
We put our value, associate our value to that.
Yeah, I don't recommend that for anybody.
Chopping it out with Chaz Van Queen. All right, B. So I want to give you an opportunity to. I don't even want to say it like that. So you mentioned something. I want to ask you about this anyway, but you mentioned something that really took me here. As you were talking about creating art and not really feeling drawn to sort of create art that is associated with the whatever. And you remind me of one of my favorite artists when you say that.
That's an honor, whoever it is.
Someone that you have had an opportunity to work with.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So one of my favorite artists, man, anybody who listens to any of the shows, the XRAY FM, Welcome to the Neighborhood show, or the Rhythm right here on at the Numberz, I play his music constantly is Homeboy Sandman.
Oh, okay. I was surprised.
And you know, so first off, shout out to Hanif, who the artist formerly known as Luck One, who's a Portland MC, one of the dopest MCs to come out of Portland. Hanif the Barber. Check out his episode of the Klyph Notes podcast.
Yeah, I got to check that out.
So Hanif actually pointed me in the direction of Homeboy Sandman several years back, and I've just been a fan of his forever. And one of the things I appreciate about him is that I feel like every album that he releases, working with different producers, he is his own person. You know, you're always going to get something a little bit different. And sometimes you got to sit with it because it's dope in and of itself, but it for me, it does take me back to just the art of rhyme, right?
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about your connection with Homeboy Sandman.
I started, right around like 2009, 10 is when I really started to like get in the show circuit in New York and start doing shows. And one of my first kind of like big shows was, I think, opening for him.
Okay.
And we had just knew each other from that. We had developed a mutual respect then. Like he went out of his way to be like, yo, I see you.
Yeah.
I fuck with what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I was, he was making waves then.
Yeah.
And I wasn't. I had just started, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for him to look to me like I was a college student and I was, from the Bronx and unfortunately, the way it's set up in New York, unfortunately the Bronx doesn't have like that plethora of notable venues the way that Brooklyn has a bunch of them, and which needs to change.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of where, some of my investment money will go in the future. But the point I'm making from saying that is I had to come out to other places.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was kind of like being an ambassador of the Bronx out in other places. And because of that, I was loud and proud about it.
Yeah.
This song on my next record that's coming out, I say, I've been repping it since before it was cool. And, because there was a period where it just wasn't as cool, where people was like, oh, you from the Bronx? Like, okay. Like, and, I think he saw that.
Yeah.
He saw that I was proud.
Yeah.
And skilled, but he saw that I was proud.
Yeah.
So he acknowledged me early on and gave me his number and we would talk and, he would offer me, little tidbits here and there. I sent him some production numerous times. I don't know if he ever put anything out. Unfortunately, I don't be like checking as much as I should, but I sent him some productions and, we keep in contact. While we may not, I don't think there's anything that we've done together that's out commercially, but it has always been a mutual appreciation and respect. You know what I'm saying? There's times where I release things and he's like, yo, this is dope.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful to him because he made me feel confident about where I was and what I was doing simply by just acknowledging my existence.
Word.
And I think a lot of artists don't understand. I can't speak for other people. Let me just say to artists, acknowledgement from someone that you respect is very, very valuable because it's vulnerable when you're doing, it can be very vulnerable sometimes when you're doing music and, seeking validation and don't have it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And respect from your peers, right?
Yeah.
That's why everybody wants to win a Grammy.
Right.
Right?
Right. Yeah.
Not just, I can't speak for all the artists, but not just because they get to go to the Grammy parties and all of that, because when you win the Grammy and you're on stage, you're looking out at all of the artists, and there's a significant amount of them that you respect and that you look up to, executives, artists, etc. So that's really our relationship.
That's what's up. Another artist who you have worked closely with and speak of is an artist who is so instrumental to once again to this culture and what he's done as a creative, as an MC, as a producer, creating platforms for others through podcasting and so many other things, is Talib Kweli.
That's what I thought you was gonna say the first time. You kind of like when you said that, I was like, oh, okay, surprise. Yeah, brother Qua, bro. Yeah, I just seen him recently. We did a show together in Austin. He invited me out, and we went out to Austin. And my mom, my stepdad, I shouldn't say my stepdad, but my pops, and live in Houston now. So it was nice because my mom's was able to come. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was really, really nice. And we did a show out there, had a great time. As a matter of fact, that night in Austin, I forget what what's the name of the place we performed at? Oh, man. I forget the name of it, unfortunately. But the point I'm making is that night was the first time I performed Tuesday, Wednesday shagging in front of anybody. Yeah. The record that kind of just came out. And I was like, all right. This is what I'm doing. Because he was like, yo, what songs you going to do tonight? And I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to do Tuesday, Wednesday. And it went over really well.
Oh, that's what's up.
It went over really well. So shout out to him. We met through 2 different ways, actually, which is pretty interesting. So there's an artist who is one of my closest friends on this planet, Brazilian trilingual MC, amazing artist, constant collaborator and friend, Nico is, who's Brazilian and Argentinian, but he comes here by way of Orlando. So you can imagine the blend of cultures that he possesses. I met through him. Kweli signed him, and shortly thereafter, he started bringing him up to New York. Yeah, and me and him had connected through a mutual person who had wrote about us, and he brought me. Nico was nice enough to bring me into the fold really early. Yeah. He had just kind of started working with Kweli and coming up to New York, and he was bringing me into the fold. He was like, yo, I'm making songs with this dope artist. He's a dope songwriter. He's a dope producer. Like, I feel like we should work with him. So he would bring me in. And the inception of our relationship was through that, and also through Talib's son, Amani Fella. Okay. So I was working with Amani as well separately. Not really, like, master planning, relating the two, just, like, kind of knowing that, they were both close to him and working with them. But I did a song off my record, what's the name of that album? Chazmere, the Chazmere record. I did a song called Something You Can Have. And I shot a beautiful video for it. My dad's in it, and we built a table and have dinner on it. It's beautiful. Yeah. And Amani Fella is the feature on the song. Okay. So I've been making music with Amani Fella, and he featured on the song. And Talib started hearing music that I was producing and making for Nico, and music that I was producing and making with Amani Fella. And he's like, yo, who is this cat? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then I was right there the whole time. And then he was like, yo, so you made this and you made this and this? I was like, yeah. So he was like, look, I want to work with you as a songwriter on my next record. Oh, word. So the Radio Silence album, which I'm sure you're familiar with. Yeah. I co-wrote the song with Waka Flocka. Okay. I co-wrote the last song on the album. I forget the name of it. And I helped with some string arrangements on the album. I just did a bunch of, like, co-writing with him. Yeah. Coming up with ideas for song concepts, which is really a strong suit for me. Yeah. And, he embraced a lot of the ideas. I also sent him a bunch of production. We did a bunch of songs together. The Fuck the Money tape, we got a bunch of songs together. We did a Colors of the Culture compilation. So we got a bunch of songs together on that. Yeah. And he's been an indirect mentor to me. And when I say indirect, it hasn't been like, listen, young brother. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's been his actions. Yeah. I've done a lot of shows with him. I've traveled a lot of places with him. Yeah. Me knowing about Portland and its existence is because we went on tour together. Okay. In 2019, we did the Summer Solstice Tour, which was me, him, and Nico. And my boy, Seth Bird, was the host, great friend of all of us. And DJ Spinelec, he was the DJ for the tour. And, we did, I don't know, like 20 dates. Okay. And we did Bellingham, Tacoma, Seattle, not in that order. In that order, actually, because Tacoma's further south. Yep. So when we did those dates, the Portland was on there too, but the off days were in Portland. Okay. So he would fly somewhere to go work, and I couldn't really afford to just be flying somewhere. So I was like, I'm gonna go to Portland. You know what I'm saying? And when I came here, I was like, oh, this place is very interesting. I'm curious about this place, and I have been spiritually seeking a break from New York. So, you know, another thing, fun fact about me, you know, working with Kweli and touring with him is that it was the catalyst for me to move here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Yo.
Yeah. I did the tour, and then after the tour was over, I went back to New York, and I did some work and stuff. Tour can be depleting.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of depleted, went through some things, refreshed myself, and then pandemic hit February, March, and my partner and I decided, like, yo, you know, we're going to move. I had already been talking about it, and I was like, Portland, let's go to Portland. So we came in July. I climbed Mount Hood on my birthday, and then we stayed like maybe a week and a half longer than we said we were going to stay. And that's how we knew. We were like, all right, cool. Like, we're going to move here. And then we came back in the fall.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Well, I know that it's been cool for me to really get to know you through your art, and then to be able to sit down with you and really get to know you, not just as a creative, but as a person, and just building has been a blessing to me, man. So I appreciate you taking the time, for real.
Same. I'm grateful to, you know, get a chance to talk about No Man is an Island. I think that's really important. I didn't really get a chance to talk about like No Knock and stuff like that, but I wanted people to know, you know, because like I said, this is gonna go way further than you and me right here, right now. So I just want people to know the whys and the hows. So thank you to everyone who has the opportunity to listen, and, you know, peace to you, DJ Klyph, man. Word. It's been an honor.
No doubt.
And peace to the greater Portland area, man. You know, keep preserving this African diaspora culture, man. It's absolutely in our hands.
Word up. And you know, bro, let's take a couple minutes, man, and let's speak to that, man. You hit me with the edits this week, and so had a chance to spin No Knock last night on the show. One of the things that I appreciate is, as we consider this art form of hip hop, specifically rap music, it is music, and I think it's as a radio DJ and a curator of the arts on radio, I understand, you know, as I'm picking songs that I'm going to play, there are several different things that I think about. One of the things that I think about, though, is the idea that music has to capture, on the radio, it has to capture people's attention, because you know, we're on terrestrial radio, and for an artist to be able to capture the ear through the production, the beat making.
Some Total did a great job on No Man's an Island, man. Shout out to him.
It's so dope. But then also, from the vocalist, from the MC's perspective, vocally you have to be able to do the same thing.
Absolutely.
So I feel like with No Knock, you were able to do all of those things. Then at the same time, create this narrative, create this story of you, as you've spoken to, that is deep, that does give us something to think about, but also, for a lot of people, educates, right? Because you can have a conversation about the concept of No Knock, and for a lot of us, be like, wait, what is? I don't know what that is. So can you speak to how you speak to the idea? Again, you spoke to it a little bit about No Knock, like what that is.
Yeah.
But then also, how do you do that? How do you create a piece of art that is very specific in subject and content without coming across as
preachy?
Yeah.
Because I don't give a fuck about being preachy. I don't really think about that when I'm making a song.
I do. Word.
Like, I don't think it's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Preachy, you know, being preachy has held communities together.
Yes.
So I'm not knocking that, no pun intended.
Yeah.
But if you listen to the song, like the intention, that's none of the intention.
Right.
You know, none of the execution is preachy at all.
Right.
It's about it's an audio movie. It's a scenario.
Yeah.
And for those who, you know, are maybe not as familiar, Philando Castile was shot and killed when he was in his car with his partner and his daughter after being pulled over by Officer Geronimo Yanez. And basically the officer, you know, he told the officer that he had a licensed gun, and allegedly the officer said that he reached for it, but, you know, it was on camera, like he didn't reach for it, like you could see. But of course, stigmas and fear pumping probably play a huge aspect in that. And you know, he wound up shooting and killing this young man who had a licensed firearm, and was in their car, you know, not doing anything wrong. They didn't commit any crimes. And in front of his daughter, and it was broadcast on Facebook Live, and it was everybody. You know, I'm not a fan of commodifying and you know, the taping and the watching of Black trauma and Black death.
Right.
Very much not. I don't think that, you know, any culture, you know what I'm saying? Like, we never want people to be desensitized to that.
Right.
Right. But unfortunately, I seen it, but I tried to make something positive about it. I immediately was like, okay, how can this debacle of a situation happen? You know what I'm saying? And it was like, well, that is one part of it. The song itself touches on a lot of things, but it's very central. The song touches on, what if that scenario was reversed?
Yeah.
What if Philando Castile was the police officer, and Officer Yanez, whatever his name is in the car with his daughter? And I also touched on, in the song, revenge. I think a lot of times we speak to, you know, we have to stop letting this happen, and we have to stop. When is it gonna be enough? Hands up, don't shoot. And it's like, that's a perspective, but like the Panthers in the '60s had enough,
Right.
and they're like, we have a right to arms. We're gonna use our Second Amendment. We're gonna protect ourselves and our communities.
Yeah.
And they had to, and so much so that at one point they were seen by Hoover and the FBI as the greatest threat to American safety, which is fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
What it really is the greatest threat to American indoctrination. So my perspective on that song was a perspective that we don't hear as much in songs, because it's a dangerous perspective.
Yeah.
It's a fearless perspective, and that perspective is fucking revenge. And that perspective is protecting yourself. What's the last line of the song? Only way to keep the peace with those who have a peace is keep a peace. Otherwise, you beg for mercy.
It's powerful.
There's truth to that.
Yeah.
So when I made that song, like I said before earlier in this conversation, I had it kind of all in my head swirling, you know, and I had some lines and stuff like that, but then I did it. And the engineer, Sam Obey, and Sum Total can speak to this, because I invited Sam to the studio. I mean, Sum Total to the studio for when I did it. I recorded the song, and once we felt like it was complete, I listened to it one time all the way through, and I completely broke down, like into tears, like just. Like, you ever have, like, sometimes your mind cries and your eyes cry, but sometimes your body cries. You know what I'm saying? You have these type of, like, deep, like, emotional releases.
Yeah.
And it's like, that may have been something that I've been holding on to my entire life, quite possibly. And when I did the song and actually listened to it for the very first time, we're just sitting in the studio kind of like this.
Yeah.
And it just like all came out. And it took me about 10 minutes to regain my composure. And as you know, crying is like fighting. It's quite exhausting.
Yeah.
So like, which is why people cry when they fight. I've seen people who are warriors who are like crying while they're fighting.
Yeah.
Because it's really emotional.
Yeah.
And when I just kind of had that breakdown, it was just silent in the room. Like, everybody had nothing to say. It was like when you hear the song, you can hear like, bro, like I'm exhausted by rage. I'm exhausted by rage. I don't want to be victimized.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? More so than the whole aspect of like police brutality and shit. Like, I don't want to assume a victim stance.
Right.
The problem, one of the inherent problems is we keep thinking of, not we, some think of ourselves as victims of police brutality.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, like, I don't even want to be susceptible to that. Like, my life is too valuable, you know what I'm saying, to even be susceptible to something like that. And I made that song. It's dense and complex, but unfortunately, part of the things of what I think is like, if 12 million, indigenous people of African descent went to their, respective states, 12 million is a random number, but millions of people, and went and got a gun license, I think Dave Chappelle probably talked on this, things would change. Things would change real quick.
Yeah.
If we flooded in that way and took to arms in that way.
Yeah.
Because you can't kill everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's more of us than there are police officers, and there always will be. So obviously the mentality needs to change, but that song is, special to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's when you listen to the hook, you have an opportunity to specifically show respect to people who suffered,
who died at the hands of no-knock warrants specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's sad that it's that easy to do.
Yeah.
The list of names is
ongoing.
Yeah.
We just had a person
a
few days ago.
Yeah.
Like, that's a part of the song that I don't like.
Yeah.
The fact that it's like I'm speaking to the future.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to speak to the future with that song.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But people hit me up in the last week and they're like, yo, it's crazy how relevant No Knock is, bro. Like, it's like it refreshes itself.
Yeah. And the fact that we can have these, I don't know, bro. I get so torn because, that we can have these things happen over and over again, and you think, okay, for me in my brain it says, if something happens and I recognize that was wrong, that then things would be put in place to correct that, right? I mean, that's how we live our lives. Yeah. If I'm doing something and I see that it's causing harm, once I recognize that, I navigate in a different direction. But we're seeing the same things happen over and over again, which on one hand is like, why wouldn't you see things change? But on the other side, as a black man in America, I realized, well, no, it's no different, right? This is where we are. This is where we live.
There's no federal ban on no-knock warrants at this time. At the time of this taping, there is no federal ban on no-knock warrants, right? But numerous people are dying at the hands of no-knock warrants, right?
Yeah.
Needlessly. You're not bringing any good to the world by, murdering a person in their home. You know what I'm saying? You're creating more trauma in the world. You're creating more social unrest.
Yeah.
You're not creating more order. You're not creating more abiding citizens. So you're failing.
Yeah.
Okay? Let's be clear.
Yeah.
Any time that there's a wrongful death like that, you are failing. You failed. The law enforcement system has failed those officers because they're ill-trained and ill-equipped to be productive members of society.
Right, and that should be highlighted, right?
Yeah.
People are being trained. People are doing what they're being trained to do.
Right. And unfortunately, people are willing to compound upon what they're being trained to do.
Yeah.
But here, you think that you are going above and beyond to serve the greater good of society, but now you have failed society, you have failed your profession, you have failed yourself, you have failed your family.
Yeah.
Because now you have murder on your hands.
Yeah.
And for the rest of your life, you sleep and wake up with that.
Yeah.
So now you're in a state of repent for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, no matter what good you bring into the world, you either have to try your best to ignore the fact that you have murdered a person, or you succumb to it.
Yeah.
So you have failed yourself in that way. And then, obviously, you have failed those families who you took their young person away. You know what I'm saying? Like, what Fred Hampton was to our society and to those communities in Chicago was absolutely instrumental.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that was a specific one because that was malicious.
Right.
That was malicious.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That was a time in which anyone standing up to the injustice was, seen as, in my opinion, what these officers are when they engage in this behavior, domestic terrorists.
Yeah.
So, but it's obvious that there are many officers who are terrorizing citizens of our country.
Yeah.
With a respect for crime, right? Some people say, like, yo, abolish the police and all that stuff. That's a whole different topic, right? We don't want crime in our neighborhoods, and we do want to feel safe, right? But there are many ways to fight it.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you have an opportunity to, I mean, this is a longer conversation for a different time. But when you have an opportunity to talk to people who are or who have worked as police officers, who have worked as civil servants, and remember, that is what the police are. They're civil servants.
They serve the people.
Exactly.
On the police car, it says, protect and serve. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, what are you protecting and serving now? Is it property?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, be real with yourself.
Yeah.
It says integrity, respect, and something else on all the New York City police cars.
Yeah.
And some of them do.
That's what I'm saying. I've had conversations with police officers who talk about times where there were weekly or bi-weekly community meetings where the police would go into the communities and they would have conversations, and it was a back and forth. It was, hey, these are things that are going on in our communities, and the police would say, okay, well, this is what we're seeing, and there was at least a certain level of respect, right? But we know that there are so many things that have broken that down. The simple fact that, we hear stories of police officers policing communities that they don't live in. Well, if I don't live here, why do I care about what happens here? Then it becomes purely just a job. Mm-hmm. And
quotas.
100%.
That's another problem.
Yeah.
Quotas and ticketing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's bullshit. I remember one time I was about to get a ticket for jaywalking across a street, which is ridiculous. Yeah. And then no cars are coming, you know what I'm saying? I'm just walking across the street.
Yeah.
Only reason I didn't get the ticket is because I had an active duty military card. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
It's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
But no knock, in short, touches on two things. It touches on, well, many things, but simply two things. No knock warrants and helping to popularize, people's eyes on that and attention to that.
Yeah.
And an aid to ban it. And gypsy cops, which is a term that is used for police officers who have a history of misconduct, who have been fired or, changed departments or whatever, etc. And then after, leaving a police department in one county or one area, go to another. Those two terms, I think, need to be as popular as, keywords like, social media and drill and like just certain, like I need those words to be like very, very popular.
Yeah.
I need the term gypsy cop to be very, very popular because that's how we can make change.
That's what's up. Chaz Van Queen, brother, man, thank you so much for once again using your platforms, using your art, your talents to speak to these things and providing them to us as curators, providing them to us as platforms, as mouthpieces, to make a difference, man. Because at the end of the day, that's what we should all try to do. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, thank you for having me, DJ Klyph. Shout out to the Numberz. Much love to y'all. Y'all can find my music at chazvanqueen.com, or you could just, throw in your search engine Chaz Van Queen. I'm on the gram at Chaz Van Queen. I do some tweeting. At Chaz Van Queen, et cetera, et cetera. Love and respect to everybody. Vibes don't lie.
No doubt. We have, as we've been talking about, man, more and more events are coming up, having conversations about doing some Mic Check Presents events, which is the live platform. So I got your number in my phone, B.
Oh, man, performance time is great. I have 2 shows this week, actually.
Oh, word, yeah, we need to let that know, yeah.
Tomorrow, which is Monday, Valentine's Day, February 14th, I am opening for my brother, amazing jazz, pop, future fusion artist, Casa Overall. He's in town.
No doubt. No
yeah.
doubt, man.
Are you familiar with Casa?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've played some of his music. Been talking to shout out to Sold Out. PDX Jazz Fest is kicking off. So
yeah. That's my guy, man.
Word.
I've known him for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah, we were just on the phone a few days ago, and he tapped me to open up tomorrow at Jack London Review.
Okay.
So I'll be there tomorrow night. I think it jumps off at like 7 or 8 or something. But y'all can go hit the site and get some details on that. And then the 17th, February 17th, which is a Thursday, I am at PSU, Portland State University, from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., performing like a midday show of Chaz Van Queen material. So those are my shows this week. Y'all, I'll be posting some more details on that on the handles and on the site. So y'all tap in, man. Vibes don't lie.
That's what's up. Chaz Van Queen, I appreciate you, Doc, man.
Yeah, man. It's been a pleasure, man.
Come on,
for
man.
real.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We just building, bruh. We just building. That's all.
That's it.
Hey, yo, thank y'all so much for tapping into the Klyph Notes podcast. Remember, it's available everywhere you listen to your podcast: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, which is another conversation, Google Podcasts, Audible, and of course at klyphnotes.com. A couple shout outs I got to give. Once again, shout out to the Numberz for being gracious hosts for the recording of the Klyph Notes podcast, man. Yeah, we about to run upstairs and check out the Aux Mute Gallery.
Nice.
Y'all should come through, check out the gallery, curated by the Numberz on the 4th floor of the Portland Art Museum. Also, big ups to XRAY FM for their continued support to the Klyph Notes podcast. Shout out to my folk over at Akepele Apparel. I'm rocking the Akepele gear right now, man.
Hold up, man. I need to get kitted and fitted. What's up, my G? Sheesh.
You know, you see, I'm rocking the Klyph Notes, the official. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Akepele Apparel, man. Such a dope local clothing company, man, and they've been supporting us for years now. Check them out, akepele.com, AKEPELE.com. Big ups to my guy DJ Renz for all of the work that he's doing there. And then last but never ever least, man, big ups to my guy Theory Hazit for creating the official theme song for the Klyph Notes podcast.
Okay.
Once again, y'all, thank y'all so much for tapping in. God bless you until we have an opportunity to do this again. Peace.
Peace out.